Larry One Ryan here. So a while ago I was tagged by Josh to do his canned food book tag. And then I was also recently tagged by Todd The Librarian, so I was only recently made aware of this tag, so yeah. I don't know what it is, lately YouTube hasn't been notifying me of any new content as far as my favorite channels are concerned, so yeah. YouTube, if you're listening, which I think you probably are, you gotta do something about that. So anyways, I'll get right into it here. There's a lot of questions, so number one is fruit a work that makes you think about being in school? To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee is just for me. I mean, the first time I read that book, it was in like 9th or 10th grade during English class. And yeah, so I mean, anytime I even just hear the title, To Kill a Mockingbird, I'm reminded of being in my high school English class, so there. Really no other book does that to me, so, you know. So anyways, number two, vegetables. Your favorite thing to buy in mass market paperback. For me, definitely poetry. I mean, I like purchasing poetry collections. So, yeah, I don't know. It's you know, usually because poetry is easy to get through, easy to read through. You know, yeah, sometimes, you know, you have to read some poems more than once in order to get some kind of decent understanding of it. But otherwise, you know, that's what I like to purchase most of the time. I mean, because like with novels, like I don't purchase that many novels unless I know it's absolutely something I'm gonna like. So yeah. Number three, soup, a work that is packed with tropes. Pretty much any YA novel, any young adult novel. I mean, you know, those things are riddled with tropes. And so number four, baked beans, a work that has at least two legitimate approaches. Gonna go with Diary of an Oxygen Thief by Anonymous. I recently read and reviewed this because I feel like, you know, you can look at it from really more than two different ways, you know, and you can interpret it. It can be interpreted in many different ways. So, you know, either you absolutely hate it, or you kind of like it, or you absolutely like it, or you don't hate it, but you also don't like it. And so, I mean, I guess you could say that about any other novel, but some more than others, and this is definitely one of those. So, yeah, if you want to check out my review of it, or if you haven't already, I'll provide that link. So, number five, soda when you're hot. What work makes you feel cold and refreshed? For me, pretty much anything set in space, any kind of sci-fi thing. Like, I guess something about the coldness of space that usually helps me to cool down. And yeah, it's just, especially during the summer, you know, I'm not a fan of the summer months. It's, you know, it's hot. It's always hot. Especially where I live in the Southwest, you know, it gets to be over 100, and, you know, I don't know how some people like it. And yeah, people will say, well, you know, you just gotta wear shorts and light clothing and all that. But yeah, for me, I still sweat anyways. For me, it doesn't matter whether I'm wearing, you know, 3 layers of clothing or if I'm wearing 1 layer of clothing. You know, I still sweat, so there's no getting around that. So yeah, I'll probably end up reading a lot of sci-fi stuff this summer. to cool down. Number 6, coffee, a handy book. Thesaurus. Yeah. Which I haven't consulted with thesaurus in quite some time. I don't know. I usually find thesaurus to be a little more helpful than a dictionary. Yeah. I don't know. It's just me. Because, I mean, especially since I write my own original poems and short stories and novels. And so usually I like having a thesaurus close by. So, yeah. Number 7, tomato puree, a great work that uses a lot of description. For me, it definitely have to be The Summer That Melted Everything by Tiffany McDaniel. I read and reviewed this, I want to say, about a year ago. I had received a signed copy of it from the author in exchange for an honest review. I guess if you want to check out my review of it, I can provide that link too. Even though this is technically like a YA novel, it's a little deeper than that. Definitely much more profound than your typical young adult novel, and especially the way the author, the way she describes certain things. It's a lot of it to me came off as being like really thought provoking, you know. So I mean, I don't know. That's how I feel about it. You know, obviously, if you want to know more, you can check out my review of it. So. Number 8, Tuna, a work with a familiar adaptation you feel people must read. Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky. Just because I know it has a movie adaptation that people are familiar with. Right now I'm currently reading the book, because I had never read the book before, so. And the movie is definitely one of my all-time favorite movies. I mean, I own a copy of it. I've seen it a number of times. I don't know how many times. But yeah, that's... So number 9, Bread, the most pretentious work you have read. Billy Budd by Herman Melville. Of course, Herman Melville wrote Moby Dick, if you didn't know that already. But Billy Budd is like... It's shorter than Moby Dick, but it's a lot more dense, like... You know, it was like Herman Melville really went off on, you know, as far as descriptions go. And I don't know, if you've read it, you know what I mean. You know, or even if you've tried to read it, you know what I mean. So, number 10, Broth, a work you refer to time and time again. Definitely for me, Leaves of Grass by Walt Whitman. I guess I would say Walt Whitman is my favorite poet. Leaves of Grass is definitely my favorite poetry collection. Yeah, I don't know. It's just, I like every time I read through it, I notice different things here and there. Sometimes, like, I'll read it and a certain words stand out more to me than others. And yeah, it's just, you know, if you haven't read it, I do recommend, I believe everybody should read it at least once, or at least a good portion of it at least once. So 11, Spam, a work of popular fiction you would endlessly encourage people to read. Me and Earl and the Dying Girl by Jesse Andrews. This is another, I guess, YA novel, because it does have the familiar tropes, but it's slightly different in that it's much more humorous, and, you know, there's a lot of levity throughout it. It's not just about, you know, this girl Rachel, who has cancer, I believe, or some kind of leukemia. And while, yeah, it does kind of focus on that, it focuses a lot more on, I guess, just the fact that, you know, it's better to deal with something like that with, you know, a positive outlook on things, or if not a positive outlook, then at the very least you can, you know, still appreciate life and joke about certain things, joke about other things. And I don't know, to me it's very interesting. So I would say I definitely recommend people read it. It's also, I believe it also happens to be the very first book that I reviewed on my channel. So, yeah. Number 12, Chef Boyardee, a character you feel tries to be someone they are not. Siddhartha from Siddhartha by Hermann Hesse. And that one, the character Siddhartha, he tries to achieve some kind of enlightenment. He ultimately decides to go down his own path, and by doing so, he ends up becoming someone that he really isn't. So, I mean, I don't want to say more than that. This is another book that I've read and reviewed, and another one that I do believe everyone should read at least once. Yeah. Number 13, SpaghettiOs, an addictive children's book or series you enjoy reading as an adult. Berenstain Bears. When I was growing up, I remember they were called the Berenstain Bears. Of course, supposedly now they're called the Berenstain Bears. And there's this whole conspiracy surrounding that supposedly some people believe like the timeline was changed somehow. And granted, I know it sounds ridiculous, but I don't know how to explain it, because I could have sworn when I was a kid they were called Berenstain Bears, not Berenstain Bears. I just say that, but yeah, I mean, I used to read those books a lot as a kid, and still to this day. Sometimes I'll see them in the bookstore, read through them, and yeah. So number 14, Manwich, a book that does more with its summary than with its content. 50 Shades of Grey. Yeah. Number 15, what is your favorite kind of canned food? Definitely Spam. I like Spam. I like that it's pretty versatile, or versatile, however you want to pronounce that. Yeah. I don't know. I know a lot of people like to hate on Spam, and but hey, it's during the tough times for me. It's when I wasn't able to splurge on actual food. Spam was always there for me. So, and I have a feeling that it always will be there for me, at least, for most of the population. So, and 16, canned food drive. Who do you tag? Pretty much I tag everyone and anyone. If you're watching this and you've yet to do this tag, I tag you. So, yeah, because I feel like, because this tag, Josh created this tag a while ago, so I feel like a lot of other fellow booktubers have done it. So if you're watching this and you haven't done it, I tag you. So go do it. Go do it right now. Right now. So yeah, that'll do it. Josh, thanks for tagging me. Also, Todd the Librarian, thanks for tagging me. I don't know who else possibly tagged me, but yeah, thanks. Yeah, thanks for creating this awesome tag, Josh. So that'll do it. Yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. As always, next time, don't forget, keep it real, keep on rocking, and peace.